I ran into a guy the other day. I know this guy pretty well. I knew his son real well, or know his son real well. We were talking, and his son come up in conversation, and I was like, your son's a real good guy. Like, he's genuinely a good person. He's always been good to me. He's always treated me right. He's a good person. And the guy's face lit up, and we talked a little bit. And I thought about that a lot later on. I'm a father, and as a father, I don't know if anything would make me prouder than to know that my kids are good people, genuinely good people, And on a personal level, the thought that somebody thinks I'm a good person, a real good person, nothing really beats that. It's the highest compliment to me. It's one of the easiest things in the world to do. To a certain extent, just being nice in itself is easy. Being good is different. We all falter. We all have issues. We all have things, we'll judge people or we may do something. But to be just basically a good person isn't hard to do by any stretch of the imagination. And to me, there's really nothing I would strive harder for than to be a good person. I think it's a good feeling, but I think it's maybe against our design. I don't believe we're built for that, but I believe we have made a transition into that being our natural state. I think I've just sat and talked to myself out of that idea, and I've been under that belief for a long time, and I believe I've actually just sat and talked myself out of that belief. You look at it from an evolutionary standpoint, from a tribal standpoint, to not be as aggressive and, in some regards, selfish is the wrong word, but it's the word I'm going to use. Selfish, in some regard, survival's harder. To care more about others and to care more about the group than yourself seems counterproductive to that. But I guess when you really look at it, packs of animals kind of work in that same vein of thought. Do for the pack first, and then it will provide for you. So, maybe it's 100% in our design to be good. And it would make more sense, because I know the doom and gloom people would say, well, there's far more bad people than good. And if you look at people that are mean to other people that are mean to animals, people that do horrible things, they get all the publicity. It seems as though they far outnumber the good. But the world really wouldn't work at that equation. Not even in the worst of countries. Some people do bad things not knowing they're bad. Ignorance is a powerful, powerful thing. More powerful than it's ever given credit for. And there are a lot of bad people. But there are a lot of people with bad ideals and bad understandings, and they've been taught bad things that aren't necessarily bad people. They just don't know a good way. I think that's far more prevalent than real bad people. People that are actually bad. I think those people are fewer and far in between than we realize. Especially when compared to good people. Because I would have to say I meet good people on a fairly regular basis. I'd have to say I interact with good people on a fairly regular basis. I believe I hang out and have good people in my life almost constantly, but that's a conscious choice. I have blood relatives, very close blood relatives, cut off that I have absolutely nothing to do with. Because I don't feel they're good people. So I'll cut off anyone. If it were one of my children, I will take out any cancer that tries to hang in my life. That's easy to do on a personal level. You can do that. That's, if you don't, that's you're at fault for that, because it's easily done. Their family excuse, that doesn't work for me. I've known them forever excuse, that doesn't work for me. You come up with whatever excuse you want for keeping the cancer around. It's not, for me, it's just not gonna, I'm not gonna agree with it, because I've sacrificed to have those things out of my life. I do believe that people are mostly good. And I've said that 1,000 times on here. There's times when people get scared. There's times when people get worried. There's times when people get confused. There's tons of times when people are just ignorant. But especially in the area I live in, I've seen some bad things happen. And as a younger person, I would have said, well, nobody in the area I'm in cares about anybody but themselves. And you say those kinds of things when you're young and ignorant. And I know people who live to be 80 and say the same things. And if those things are true, it's fine to say it. But if they're not true, it's not fine to say it. But a lot of people, they don't ever want to see the growth, or they don't ever want to see the good in something. There's different types of people. Some people only see the bad in everything. Everything is always bad. Everything is always negative. And a lot of times they suffer a bad, negative life. One thing, when I'm first meeting someone, or when I'm around someone, that I can't help but notice, if something happens negatively, or something happens that they perceive to be negative or bad, if in some way they're impacted in a way that they don't see as positive, how do they approach it? Is it always someone else's fault? Is it always them being a victim? If so, I'm very hesitant about how much time in a day I give that person. Victims really like to suck you down. They really like to pull you down, and they want you to recognize and acknowledge them being a victim, and then they want you to feel a victim of the same thing. They want you to feel like you've been victimized in the same way they do, or at the least they want you to console them and explain to them how horrible their victimization has been. That's a tiresome endeavor. It really wears on you. As the victim and as a friend to a person like that, it can wear on you. I don't, I'm saying I'll abandon that person. You know, that's different than someone's maliciously doing bad things to you. But I don't let a person like that kind of infect me. I don't let them, I try. I'm like, hey, let's look at this. Let's look at this, the positive aspect. But, you do what you can do, and you end up where you end up. And, it is what it is. I don't know. But I believe that this gentleman I was talking about in himself is a fairly good person. And I believe that his son is a good person. And I know that I felt good after seeing his reaction. But I felt good in telling him this because I believed it to be true. And I believe that's one of the best things you can say about a person. Now, when I was younger, to me, the greatest compliment anyone could give about me was that I was a hard worker. To me, that was the greatest compliment of all time. When the company I worked for would tell me what a hard worker I was, or people who were involved with the industry I was in, or the work I was doing, when they would say, Justin works really hard, Yeah, he puts in that seventh day of the week, and he does this, he does that. That used to make me feel really good. It saddens me to some degree now. Not really. I do want people to say that I work hard at things, but I'm nowhere near the worker I once was in those regards, to hours and things of that nature. But if someone else was to say, you're a good person, and I appreciate the way you treat other people, that has a lot more value to me than other things. And obviously, if someone says, hey, I think you're a great father, that has a value that's on a different level, but it really has a very personal and very restricted value to my kids. I look at my kids and I go, I owe them that. They are deserving of that. They've earned a good father. They're deserving of that, and I truly want to be that and do that and work to do that. That same feeling of pride comes from someone telling me, hey, I believe you're a good person, and it goes to a much wider thing. And I may take more pride in the statement about being a father if someone said that, but that, that's just an understandable thing, I guess. But, if my children were grown with children of their own and someone came up to me and said, your daughter's a good mother and your son's a good father, that would have a lot of value to me. A lot. It would mean a lot to me. But my kids may never have children. You may never have children. I would get that same sense of pride if someone came up to me and said, your son is a really good person. He's really good to people. He treats people very well. And I admire the way he interacts with other humans. It's a simple thing. It really is. It's something we should do anyway. And I see a lot of people who want to call a lot of other people horrible humans when they do some of the most horrible things themselves. Judgment is a hard thing to get by. And I don't know anybody that doesn't do it. I do it. It just is what it is. But being a good person's free. And there's no negative impact on you. I had a discussion once with someone who said, the only problem with always being good is you leave yourself susceptible to being taken advantage of and being hurt. If you're being the good person, if you're doing the right thing, if you're being good to someone else and somehow they come out ahead of you for some reason financially or whatever the case may be, you didn't lose anything. You still get to be you. You still get to keep who and what you are. You got look at the value of things. You got to look at what you value. Being a good person has a lot of value. It can have. It does to me. It has a ton of value to me. And I never thought about that, but when I do run into somebody, a lot of times you'll notice if you have a mutual person in common, that often gets brought into discussion, especially when it's a father or a son or a mother or a sister or a brother, somebody of importance in that person's life. And my go-to thing, when it's true, was always the same. And I got to thinking about that, and I realized why from a personal reason now. I would always say, so-and-so's a really good person, because to me, when you can say that about someone, when it's true and it's genuine and you can actually say it about someone, that value is unmeasurable. And this is the thing. This is the thing that I didn't realize early on, and this is the thing that I didn't think about when I would do it, but a lot of times, well, not a lot of times, each interaction is different, but I can think of 2 occasions where I've said that, so-and-so's a really good person. Yeah, they are. They really are. I know they're on drugs, or I know they've done this, or I know they've done that, but, and I hate that. I hate that they've done that, but, they really are good people. And they start making excuses for something this person's done in their personal life. They don't just accept it because society's kind of got them beat down to the point. I mean, you can be a needle in the arm, almost ODing every night junkie, and be a good person. Like, that's possible. In all honesty, a lot of times it's highly likely. It's that fragility in you, that goodness in you that sometimes makes you hurt and suffer a little bit more than the everyday person that leads to that drug use. And you can be a slobbering alcoholic and still be a good person. We're too hung up on what people do wrong all the time and how we're there to correct it. Everybody wants to be the moral police, myself included. I've been that person. I've been that person on both ends. I've been that person when I've done the things that other people say you shouldn't do, drugs and alcohol. And then I've been that person that goes, you know what, if you are a druggie, it's just because you want to be and you want to do, why? Because I didn't like those things about me, because society taught me the fact that I wanted to drink, the fact that I wanted to do drugs, the fact that I enjoyed certain things. I didn't like that part about me because society said not to like that part about me. So you can be a good person regardless of what you have done, what you will do, or what you're currently doing. Whether it's addiction, maybe even murder. I don't know. I can't base how you interact with me and how I see you treat other people on things about you that I've not experienced. That's crazy. It's a ridiculous thought. But to tell that guy that his son was a really good person made his day. And it was a truthful statement. And it was an easy thing to do. And it was deserved happiness on his part because it was true. He's a genuinely good guy. He's never done wrong to me. He's never hurt me. I've never seen him do bad to other people. I've never seen bad out of him. Just seen him be a good guy who treats people fair and right. Plato said, people are like dirt. They can either nourish you and help you grow as a person, or they can stunt your growth and make you wilt and die. also said that character is simply habit, long continued. Plato once said, good actions give strength to ourselves and inspire good actions in others. Plato said a lot. A lot of people say a lot. Funny things about these quotes and these statements is they're only as true and valid as you make them. Even if they're completely provable, statistically accurate, they're only as valid as you make them. The new book is done. I'm extremely excited. It's the book I wanted to make the first time. I didn't hold back. I didn't change things, alter things, take things out like I did the first time out of fear of perception or anything of that nature. The appearance of the book, the physical feel of the book, the size of the book, everything about the book is what I wanted to do the first time and didn't have the know-how or knowledge or courage to do. And it is what it is. The new book is called Creating the Perfect Slaves. As of June 1st, you can pre-order the book through the Red, R-E-A-D, the Red Spotted Newt in Hazard, Kentucky. You can pre-order it on their Facebook pages. Get on Facebook, look them up, or send me a message and I'll put you in contact with somebody, or I'll have them put you on the pre-order list. It is the only way you can get the book for the first month of its existence. It's the only way you can pre-order the book. Pre-orders start June 1st. The book is physically in the store July 1st. From July 1st to August 1st, it's the only way you're getting the book. After that, we'll figure out where the book's going to be, where it's going to go, who else is going to have access to it. I've got some stuff involving the book I've got to do. I'm extremely happy about that. I don't know if I can mention yet, but the book has been selected by someone for a reading program at a college. They've already pre-ordered their books. I'm extremely happy about that. Someone is looking at the first book, which was selected by a college in the past. I'm extremely, extremely happy about it. Someone was looking at the children's book. I'm going to do something with it, and I'm extremely happy about that. One of them, the one I wrote with my son, that involves the Freedom Riders. That's all I'll say as far as that goes. Like the people from the movie. But I'm extremely excited about that. I enjoy writing. I love the poetry. I know it's a dead art form, but it's one that speaks to me greatly. And I really appreciate friends and people I know, the support that they've given me. And I can't wait to get the pre-orders and stuff in on this thing and see what I can do with this, actually trying to promote it like a real book and trying to do it locally and things of that nature. But I spoke with newspaper yesterday, so by the 1st there should be a story in the paper here, so that'll help. But it's been a fun ride and approaching it differently than I did the last one. But don't suck, don't die, and be good people, so that someday someone may say to your children or to your parents or to you if you're lucky, oh, you're a good person. You're always good to me.